for that Buster Rhymes Steelbook next year. And I want that picture of him like,
so excited. Yeah, you know it's good. I can't. If Paramount has any sense, they'll put him on that Steelbook somewhere. They'll put him.
oh, he'll be on it.
Halloween Resurrection.
Dude, look at that font right there for the title credits. That is literally back in that time, I saw that font everywhere. Every wrestling video game had that font. Everything. Like that font is synonymous with that time frame. People be like, what the fuck does it mean? I'm like, he defines it in the beginning of the goddamn movie. The definition is on the fucking screen.
Yeah.
It's on the fucking screen.
It doesn't make sense.
What does it mean?
Can you fucking read?
He defines it. He fucking defines it.
If you don't like Halloween 5, you're fucking wrong, basically. So
hell yes for the absolutely generic font for the Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that's the same font they use for the Friday.
Dude, it is. And the Blu-ray fonts from the original and this one are like almost identical.
To get genuinely aggravated by a film, I feel alive. I felt alive after seeing this thing because I was so fucking mad and so aggravated. Thank God the dislike button doesn't exist.
I know.
When I watch men.
Yeah. Yo, I was still muted. Yo, what's up? How's it going?
You got a ghost sitting next to you or what? What's the chair for?
Oh, that was from when I was filming a video, and I put the I tried to put the poster, the H2 poster, right up on this bad boy to have it like up in frame, and the ring light was causing this glare.
I love that you kept it.
Yeah. Well, hey, my son thinks that my house is haunted. And so did my ex. So, I mean, maybe it is, but I've not experienced anything, so I can't say.
There you go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to March's Uneeda Horror Podcast episode, where you, the people, voted in this democracy, and you chose us reading and reacting to shitty horror movie reviews. We're excited for that. Obviously, you guys know that won't take up the whole show, but it'll take up large swaths of the show, but introduction.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna end up disagreeing with a lot of these people, even though I may not like the movie too. For some reason, something's gonna piss me off. I just know something's gonna. You're probably gonna be like, "This is not how I thought this was gonna go down." I'm telling you, I just got this feeling something's gonna piss me off.
It's funny you mentioned that because I picked the first one, and then the next one you'll give me a movie. And I'll look up reviews for it, and then I'll pick one, and we'll just go like that. So you'll get to pick some that you're like, you know what? A lot of people say this movie's shitty, so I want to see these. I want to see some of these reviews.
Right.
So yeah, that'll be exciting. Yeah, man. Got my Lay's sweet and spicy honey.
That sounds good.
Yeah, they are sweet and spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got me.
You ever get the dill pickles? Sydney loves them.
I had them once. I'm just not. I don't dislike pickles. It's just like I don't know.
Just opening the bag will kind of bring me to a knee. Like I can't even take the smell of them. Just when you open the bag, it's just like God.
That's how my mom is with Funyuns.
What is it?
Stand the smell.
Yeah. What is it about broads and pickles? You ever notice that? Like they love. I see women. They love pickles. It's like it's a thing.
It's.
I'm not trying to be Freudian. I'm serious. Like broads love these fucking pickles.
It's especially a thing like a pregnancy craving. That's a real thing. They'll just like fiend for pickles.
In high school, man, they used to have them all the time at the lunchroom, and you just hear all these broads sucking on these fucking pickles, and then they drink the juice.
That's getting clipped out. That is 100%.
They turn the bag upside down like this, and they guzzle the juice. It's so I don't know. These fucking pickles, dude.
You knew
I
what
don't
you
know
were.
what it is.
You knew what you were doing there. You just fucking leaned into
Maybe
it.
maybe it is Freudian. What do I know, dude? Like, I don't like pickles, so I guess actually that's not true. I like fried pickles because I'm a fat ass.
Oh, dude, fried pickles are fucking awesome.
Yeah, fried pickles, fried
You
mushrooms.
get them with the
I love fried
ranch.
mushrooms. I'm not a ranch guy either. I'm very picky. I'm like a 4-year-old. I need sweet baby Ray's, uh, just regular ketchup, or I like steak sauce with like fries, which some people like and some people think it's kind of weird. I like A1. Give me that with some fries. I'm good to go. You know.
You're not one of those psychos that has to have steak sauce every time they eat a steak, are you?
No, I think you kind of know this about me. So I'm somewhat of a steak connoisseur. Like I have my preferred cuts, and I cook steak usually once or twice a week. Cindy's burnt out on it, but I like to eat a steak at least 1 or 2 a week. And my dad taught me that if you need a sauce, you didn't cook your steak right.
Correct.
So that's how I roll. So no, I don't eat A1 with a steak. No disrespect to the people that do. Everybody's got their taste buds, but for me, if you don't get full flavor, the juices and everything from the steak, if it's not savory, if it's not a little wet, then you didn't cook your steak right. So that's my train of thought. That's the way I was raised and taught. So
Man, we are off and running tonight. We're talking about pickles, guzzling juices, wet steak. We're here, man. We're on it.
yeah.
Before we get into the crux of this, we normally don't talk about topics like this on the podcast, but I gotta ask. It's a serious question. I know a lot of people out here. This is a debate. Christian, do you go through the hole of your pants to pee, or do you go over the pants?
So I wear coveralls a lot for work, and I just find them comfortable. I'm not really a huge fan of wearing just normal jeans. I don't know what it is. So usually I go through the boxers
Okay.
because what am I going to do? Unclip my straps and come
Yeah.
down?
Yeah. Okay,
I
but
go.
if you're not wearing those,
I pull them down, I guess.
yeah, that's when I'm at home. I'm always wearing like sleep pants, sweatpants, something like that. So it's like, yeah, you just pull them down, man. And we had this debate at work a couple weeks ago, and
I was going to say, where's this coming from?
yeah, well, it started. One of my subordinate managers brought it up, and he thought I was weird. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm always wearing pants that either don't have that opening, or they're just loose fitting pants. You just kind of, I don't know, just
I'm the same.
yeah.
I don't like tight clothing. I'm sure people can tell because all my clothes look very baggy on me. That's just I'm like that. I have some kind of phobia about constriction, and so yeah, it's much easier for me to just pull them straight down, brother.
There you go. Yeah, dude. As
So
long
the
as you're not
debate's
one of
over.
those, as long as you're not one of those ones that's down to the ankles, standing there at a urinal with your butt cheeks out.
Dude, my buddy Devin used to do this shit all the time. We'd go somewhere in public. He'd go to the stall. He's 22 years old at the time. He'd go straight down to his ankles in a public, like an ass hanging out. See his big ass. Just see walk in the bathroom. He's taking a piss. I'm laughing. I walk away from him. He didn't give a fuck. He'd do it to be funny.
Yeah, nowadays I feel like that gets you like hit. If you're just like
You know what?
grown man, just
One time we were at I don't want to say the name. I don't like to say where I live online, but we were at our big. We have a arena in our town with our college, and it was 3 days grace, Puddle of Mud, and another band. I forget the opening band, but we was at a concert, and my buddy Devin, we go in the bathroom, and they got this big round thing against the wall, right? And there's a lever at the bottom. Now I saw this because I walked in before me. You press the lever and it shoots water out. It's a sink.
bidet.
It's a big round thing like a tub, and you press the thing and it shoots out water and you wash your hands. Well, Devin came in a little bit after me and he didn't see it. So I washed my hands before I went to the bathroom. Some people do it after. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess I'm clean. So
It matters.
I'm pretty clean. So I wash my hands before I go to the bathroom. And I go pee and I turn around. I said, Devin, what are you doing? He goes, I'm fucking pissing. What's the problem? I said, Devin, that's a sink. What are you doing? He's pissing in the sink. He's right there. People walk in. And I said, "That's a sink. What are you doing?" "That ain't no goddamn sink." I said, "Look." I pressed the foot thing down. He's like, "Oh shit." He's putting he's zipping his pants back up. Luckily, nobody walked in. But
in his defense, I feel like, hey man, in his defense, I feel like we've all beaten this thing before. I think. Or maybe I'm just outing myself. Speaking of that, you talking about water shooting up out of a sink. What's your thoughts on bidets?
I've never used one. The idea of it seems nice, you know. Especially if it's one less thing to buy, because buying toilet paper, we're never out of it, but like we always cut it really fucking close. And there's always this one time where I'm using the bathroom and I have to just get up, squeeze my cheeks, and go to my wife's bath, because I use we use separate bathrooms just because we like to have the space. So I use the guest bathroom right here, and she uses the bathroom in the main bedroom. There's that one time where if I'm using the bathroom, if I'm taking a dump or whatever, I gotta squeeze the cheeks because I'm out of TP, and I gotta waddle over to Sydney's bathroom and get the last of it. I would love a bidet. I mean, it seems nice to me. I can't imagine it's
Yeah, I feel like it's practical.
It's a French thing, isn't it? Something like that.
Or Asian. I can't remember.
Bidet sounds French.
But I say that because I have one coworker whose girlfriend is Vietnamese, and her family, all of their toilets are bidets. And then I have one coworker who is Chinese, and all of their toilets are bidets. And I'm like, the fuck? But then my question is, wouldn't you still need toilet paper? You just use less. Because, I mean, you don't want to have wet ass. Like, you want to dry off.
That's true. You gotta, I don't know. I don't ask him about it. Ask him, hey, what's the process?
What's your ass wiping process?
I wouldn't have no problem. I'd be like, can you walk me through it? Like, I would ask you straight up, walk me through the process.
Yeah. Do you allow yourself to have like soup crack, like when you pull up your pants, or are you drying it?
Yeah. I never thought about that.
Hey, like I said, we're off to a rip-roaring start here, guys. These are tough questions. These are questions that people want the answers to.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the crux of this show. Also, want to let everybody know, again, I was shocked that this won. It won by 2%. But coming in second place is going to be the next episode we do, which is Italian horror. So fret not for all you guys that want to talk about Italian horror. I know Christian wants to talk about it. And I know there's movies that he wants me to see that I'm going to have to see in that time span. So works out for everyone. So as I was telling Christian before we got going, I'm going to pull up a movie and go over some of the reviews of it. And then Christian will then pull up a movie, and he'll go, Christian will give me a movie, and I'll pull up some reviews of it, and we'll go back and forth. The idea is to pick movies that have a reputation for being shit. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Like, just movies that even if we have a soft spot for them, we know that the general consensus is this movie isn't good.
Right.
And we'll read a review or two, something that catches our eye. So naturally, the first one, as I go to share my screen here, that came up, because I teased this when we announced this episode, was none other than Jeepers Creepers Reborn. So, the first review I find on IMDb for Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Scariest part of this movie was the horrible CGI. This is honestly the worst movie I've ever seen. Terrible CGI for things that don't even need CGI. Who approved this and watched it before it was released and thought it looked okay? Confusing plot, horrible acting, and dialogue. I don't know why they would ruin the Jeepers Creepers franchise by releasing this painful-to-watch movie. Spent more time laughing at the movie than I was scared. I don't remember being scared at all. I myself, who's had no film experience or ever owned a camera, could have written and filmed a better movie. I honestly have never wanted to leave a theater before and save myself from the pain of watching a movie. This movie should have never been released. Whoever directed this movie should be handcuffed and locked up for life. It should be illegal to make something this bad. Shame on everyone involved in this film. What are your thoughts on that, Christian?
I mean, there is a point. I'm a humorous guy, right? I like to laugh and have a good time, but there is a point where you cross the line to where you just sound like a fucking bitch. And this person just sounds like a fucking bitch. I've never owned a camera, and I can no, you can't. You can't
No.
film something better. See, the thing of it is, it's like, I get it. Like, it's not a great movie, but at the same time, what did I interviewed the guy, and respectfully, I still didn't think it was going to be a great movie. Like, what was this person expecting? You know, I mean, it's like I said, this is funny to me, and I'm excited to have a good time with this. But to me, this is just me. I think there's a point where you cross a line, and you just sound like a whiny bitch. And to me, this just rubbed me the wrong way. I fucking hate this person.
I would agree.
I don't like him.
An abomination. 1 out of 10 stars.
Okay.
The gist of this one, truly a shockingly bad movie. Jeepers Creepers. What a terrible movie. Jeepers Creepers Stillborn.
I read that one.
Jeepers Creepers 4 makes Jeepers Creepers 3 look like Jeepers Creepers. I would rather the creeper eat my eyes and brain than watch this sequel again. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is easily the worst movie I've ever seen in the theater, as well as one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And I once saw a homeless man cough up blood and die while defecating on the sidewalk.
See, this person's funny. They're making me laugh.
And at least that was scary. The only horrific element of JC4 is the abundance of revolting CGI, the weather vane, baby, which would take one out of the story, assuming there was any semblance of plot to be found. Alas, the glaring lack of budget is still outshined by the embarrassing lack of imagination. Also, there is no evidence to suggest that anyone involved in the making of this horror hound, as in dog, has so much as seen the trailers for the other 3 installments, let alone the films themselves. Talk about DOA. They should have titled this one Jeepers Creepers Stillborn.
So here's my only issue with this. This is my nitpicking. Whenever people use words like imagination, right, you got to back it up. If you say this movie lacks creativity, lacks imagination, okay, give me an example. Explain to me. Give me an example of what you mean. Because if you say something lacks creativity or lacks an idea, obviously you've got to be a pretty creative person to know what creativity looks like or is. This is why I personally avoid using these words. When I describe a movie, I don't say something is bad that I can't. Therefore, if there's something I don't like, I try to always say, this is what I would have done. They could have done this. They could have gone in this direction, or et cetera, et cetera. But that's the only thing about that was funny. I like that one. But I avoid using words to where if somebody reads it, I say to myself, okay, if I'm going to say something about a movie, put myself on the other side of the coin. What could I say back to me that could catch me with my back against the wall? Okay, let me not say that. So I'm just letting people know how I think now. So when people say this movie lacks imagination, not that I would disagree per se, but that's not something I would say, because what would I have changed about the movie to make it better? That's I just want to express how I feel about those little things. Now, this part about the homeless man shitting and puking, that's funny. I hope he's all right, wherever he's at.
He's dead. He's definitely dead. One more for Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Okay.
I'm not reading this novel. I'm sorry. Why? What a shame. What a waste of an iconic character. The first movie was fantastic, and I loved the second, as well as the third. The third was bad, but Reborn is by far the worst movie of the franchise. Which, again, I'm going to argue that it's not. I mean, it's shit, but I'd rather watch it over 3. Which I'm gutted, as I was so looking forward to this. Plot was awful. Creeper was so bad. Casting was all wrong. Effects terrible. On a positive note, score was good, and cinematography was okay as well. There you go, Timo. Don't go into this movie expecting something great. It's clearly a B movie, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not against, as I'm a director myself. Oh, big shot.
Let's we have. Does he have a name? Does he have a fucking name?
Carlo Bath.
We got to look up Carlo Bath.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Carlo Bath. Director.
Don't
Wow.
open the door. Pinocchio Unleashed. He's got a new
Pinocchio.
movie coming out. Pinocchio Unleashed.
Let's go. Wow.
This
It's a
guy
real
may be
person.
eating his words.
Real person. I'll be damned.
There he is. There's Carlo
There's Carlo.
with his pink shirt on.
That's a man of the people right there. He knows. He knows what he's talking about, guys, because he's a director himself.
Where is he? Where is he eating? Hold on. What does that say back there? Reaching? Is he at a
Reaching-
pizza joint?
I don't know.
Is he at some kind of? He's like a pizza joint or something.
What are we doing there, Carlo?
What's that saying in the
Hey.
back? Twinkies? Amazon Twinkies?
Twinkle.
Twinkle?
Twinkle. Yeah.
Look at that dude. He looks like he looks like
Oh,
a
shit, look at black and white. Black and white.
They made a black and white version.
Oh, here we go, Christian. Here it is.
Oh, Pinocchio. You gotta be fucking kidding me. It's
Live
got
clip.
Dolby Audio. It's Dolby Audio. It says Dolby Atmos.
Carlo's not a fucking slouch, dude. I don't know why you would think otherwise.
Schizophrenia?
Look at
Dude,
that.
that trailer is great. Look at his sidekick in the back. It looks like the shit, these look like extras on Lopez Tonight, dude.
All right,
man.
Christian, your turn to give me a movie.
I think we gotta go Skinamarink.
Oh,
You know,
Skinamarink dink.
I think that's the.
All right.
There's a lot of 1-star reviews.
Okay. So let's go through audience reviews on Google, ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen. If this will load. Okay. Lexi Knight says, potential spoilers ahead? Question mark. That's a good way. I like that. Question mark. I don't know. Good Lord, this has got to be the most overrated movie to recently have come out. First of all, the movie takes itself way too seriously. A lot of horror movies are bad.
Stop. Give me a second. Say that first sentence again.
First of all, this movie takes itself way too seriously.
Okay, you break that down for me. For a movie that has no talking in it, it's just all ambience. How should they? Please break this down to me. What's her name?
Her
Lexi.
name, Lexi Knight.
Lexi, honey. What the fuck does that even mean? I'm truly at a loss. How did what? Somebody explain to me how a movie that cannot have any dialogue in it.
Okay,
It's a
now
horror
hold on.
film.
Hold on, Christian, because Lexi expands upon that.
Okay,
She
go.
says,
Okay,
a lot
I'm
of horror
listening.
movies are bad for lacking an atmosphere. Well, this movie has the opposite problem. It tries way too hard to make a scary atmosphere.
Keep going. I'm listening to
It's
Lexi.
trying to mold together all the tropes that are actually scary into one, thus making it not scary. There's way too much useless buildup for the eventual payoff that we get. Where was the payoff?
It was that fucking talking. It's the telephone with
phone?
eyes. The
Uh-oh,
eyes.
what a payoff.
Yeah.
There's so much useless fluff in the middle of the movie. The whole movie is useless fluff. That I got so bored and annoyed that when something important happened that was supposed to be scary, I just didn't care. Like in the middle of the movie where Kaylee does her little jump scare where her face is gone, I just did not care because I was so out of it by then. I didn't even remember there was a character named Kaylee. Even if something like that happened sooner in the movie, it wasn't really all that scary to begin with, so they already failed in that department before it even happened. Same goes Kevin seemingly cutting out his eye. Yeah, I don't know. Here's her summation.
Okay.
If you want to be bored out of your mind for nearly 2 hours watching a black screen for 90% of the movie, then this is the movie for you. All right, Lexi's bringing it back now. She's bringing it home. Edit. After some research, it seems the general consensus for the theory to this movie is that the entire plot is all just a dream. Kevin hitting his head in the beginning, sending him into a coma, and the events are just things playing out in his head. And I just have one thing to say to such a cliche, dumb trope. Give me back the time I spent wasting watching this piece of garbage.
I heard people say that the daddy killed the kids. And
I
the
don't
kids
know.
are stuck in some kind of frozen limbo in like a dark world of their home where time basically stood still.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't look up any theories. Oh God, 5 stars. You're a simp.
You got it. Well, you have to read that.
Come on. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I am in the process of getting a one of my annual sinus infections, so I am trying to continue to like clear out my shit. Okay. Jake Scott says this and experimental horror film. Great start, Jake. Which are both ventures of cinema that are more substantially subjective than any other classification of entertainment. So your enjoyment of Skinamarink is going to depend entirely on how imaginative your mind is and how little you need structure and conventionalism to be enthralled by a story.
Stop.
Just gonna say, yeah, this guy's pretentious as fuck. He's got spelling errors already, and his sentence just is not vernacularly correct. So
the issue here is you cannot insult the audience or potential audience in your review. That's how you turn people off really fast. So to say it's going to depend on how imaginative your mind is, that basically is saying if you're a moron, you won't like it. If you're smart, you'll like it. You lose people. I'm actually going to be real for a second. Like I'm not a great movie reviewer, but one thing I can proudly say is even when I dislike something, go look at my comments. Nobody argues with me about or tries to fight with me because I'm very respectful. You know, you got to give your opinion on a movie. And you have to be honest. You right? We got a lot of stuff going on in the world about people being afraid to talk about movies, and that's all I'll say about that. But what I'm going to say is this: don't insult the audience and don't insult the viewers of movies. So you cannot say something like how imaginative your mind is, because that's saying if you're smart, you'll like it. If not, nobody. And by him saying that, Nick, we're going to read this and obviously break this down. But to the average person, Nick, if they saw that, they're immediately not going to give a fuck about what he says afterwards because he has insulted the people he's insulted people by saying it.
And yeah, that nor should they take it seriously. I proofread his next paragraph. We're
Is
not
it
even going to
bad?
go over it because it's essentially just him jerking this movie off. It's
Okay.
so it's this low budget minimalistic fear approach that just enthralls the human body. Yeah, go fuck off. I hope that guy steps on a fucking Lego. Let's see. I want to find another bad one. God.
There's a lot of 5 stars.
Well, that's the disparity here. I saw when I like clicked initially, it was 5 stars and 1 star, like were the 2 leading ones. Okay. Lucina Lanius.
Okay.
This movie is the visual version of the sensation you get when your leg falls asleep.
Damn.
It's so crunchy that I can't make out the vast majority of what's recorded, except the occasional post from a hipster Snapchat story depicting a dark room illuminated by a TV. The only positive thing I got out of this movie was that I realized this is the key to immortality. Watching this movie quadruples how long your time on Earth feels. Wow. She's swinging.
That's pretty funny.
On a more serious note, this movie completely veers off of the beaten path with its style in every way, which makes for a very unique experience. Unfortunately, it doesn't depict the feeling of waking up all alone or the feeling of that it's all a dream. As I jokingly mentioned, it doesn't feel like much of anything other than a collection of hipstery slideshows trying to be artsy. Yes, thank you. Gen Z thinking they can direct now. The plot takes itself very seriously. I wish it hadn't. I kept getting vivid flashbacks to a roommate who would try way too hard to sell creepy pastas to me by doing fake voices at random intervals, since that's the energy it's giving. Kevin ate. And I don't mean in the skinny, iconic way. I mean, he ate shit and died in a way that probably should have been shocking or unnerving. But I had expanded all of my energy to care, trying to move past the excruciating footage. I understand he's a very young child, but I'm also certain you have to be intellectually failing yourself if you trust a strange, creepy voice that tells you to carve out your own eye. Miss Girl, I wish I had an edible for the duration of this movie. This movie did not serve. She's certainly unique. Okay, a lot of Gen Z slang in that review.
She
age,
cooked. She
serve.
cooked with this review,
Yeah,
bro. She
yeah,
cooked.
but I'll tell you, Lucina, I don't think she was wrong. I really, really don't. I don't think she was wrong. She said,
No,
yeah.
yeah, she had some good points there. Speaking of Gen Z, there's this thing going around about how Gen Z are looking older than millennials. And there's been a lot of people that are Gen Z, they're aging fast. And say one of the issues is they call it the blue light syndrome. Because Gen Z grew up with the tablets and phones. And they say the blue lights from phones, they're bad for your skin. And it's making it Gen Z people look old. And I know some people that are Gen Z that, no offense, y'all look older than me. So I don't know. I guess I'm glad to be millennial.
Yeah, I played with sticks and put pop cans
You know,
on the back of my bike. So it's not
wasn't
like
no
mush.
blue lights in them fucking CRTs, as far as I know.
No. All right.
Um. Oh, it's your turn. I'm sorry.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn, Skinamarink. What's one?
I got one.
Hit me.
Candyman: Day of the Dead. Let's see what they think about that.
Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
I would have watched that. All right. Audience reviews for Candyman.
Look at the first one.
Here we go.
It's on Tubi.
It is on Tubi. Yes. That's where I watched it like 2 years ago because I hadn't seen it in like 10 years. Okay. Uneeda Klassen
Okay.
says,
10 months ago.
if I could give this 0 stars, I would. Watching the Candyman movies back to back makes me hate the sequels so much. Neither one lives up to Candyman and his seduction of Helen. Candyman's screen time in the first movie was so impactful. His lore in the first one was great. Just enough backstory to know who he was, where he comes from, and what brought him here. The first 5 minutes of the second movie, I was like, I hate this movie. I hate it so much. And gosh, I hated the unnecessary jump scares. And don't get me started on the bad acting, because why? The third movie is made in the time of Scream and many slasher movies, where the studio could have saved the franchise. They chose to put a pretty girl in the lead and have her walk half naked in scenes. I was not complaining. I hate it, and I've only watched like 10 minutes of it. Okay. You didn't even see the full thing. Christian, we can't take this review seriously. She didn't see the full thing.
She does bring up a point, though, that I will agree with. Candyman definitely feels so much better in that early 90s thriller era. And Day of the Dead definitely it whenever you see these movies chased some sort of trend. There may be a couple examples where it works. But 9 times out of 10, when you're a part of a movement and not following a movement, that's how movies become pretty timeless.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't think Farewell to the Flesh is that bad. The issue with Farewell to the Flesh is quality wise, in terms of its relation in essence of how good it is compared to the first one, feels more like a part 4 or 5 rather than a part 2. And Day of the Dead, just obviously a little bit further down the line. But I kind of like Farewell to the Flesh a little bit, and my dad saw the making of on that because this is obviously in the 90s. So I was a little kid, but my dad was working in New Orleans all the time as a claimsman, and he got to see some of the making of. He told me this one story about how he saw an effects van coming out with like a tray with like the big Candyman hook on a tray, and they were going inside some kind of auditorium. So he got to see the making of that in New Orleans. He got to see Hard Target, which I ask him about all the time. He said he saw Van Damme on set for that, and it was 93, 92. I remember he said, because I was just born when he saw it. But yeah, they used to film a lot of stuff down in New Orleans. You ever see a movie called Coach
yeah, I loved Coach Carter.
Sam Jackson?
Mhm.
So that gym was Chalmette High, right? And that literally was in my backyard. Chalmette High was where I lived, New Orleans. So I remember it was one summer they had the school blocked off, and it was filled with trailers and everything. And they shot there for a couple months, a whole summer actually, and they shot all the scenes for Coach Carter and Chalmette High Gym. So whenever I watch that movie, it brings me back.
It's one of the
Brings me
only
back.
one of the only like basketball movies that I like. Coach Carter, and like when I think of sports movies from when I was young, like Coach Carter, Rudy.
I
you
I
had
just watched Rudy last year. I saw it for the first time.
great
Rudy.
movie. Great
Oh
movie.
my God, it tore my heart out. It
Yep.
was so yeah, it
Remember
was
the
a good movie.
Titans. Remember the Titans is another one. Yeah.
I remember
can-
in the Titans, wasn't it Denzel? I just remember in Denzel, didn't he say something in that movie? He's like, I don't care if you're black, white,
Yeah.
green, purple, get your ass on the bus. Like I just remember him saying something like that.
Yeah. That's
You
one of
know?
my favorite Denzel roles. And part of
Oh,
that's
man.
nostalgia, but yeah, no, truly good shit. Well, don't worry, Christian, because although they gave it 1 star, we've got Esther Walker, 5 stars.
What's he saying?
Love this movie, even though I got scared. It's really good. Candyman is so cool.
Oh man, I'm gonna put that on the thumbnail.
Good shit, Esther Walker. Tell Samra says, what was the point? If it wasn't scary, the only good actors. Oh, it wasn't scary. The only good actors were the young girl Abuela and the weirdo gang. Don't think I learned anything new about Candyman.
Was it a fucking biography? What do you mean learn anything new about him? Tamra?
I know. Well,
What
Jotaro
are you
Kujo,
talking about?
the king of the Crips, gave it 5 stars. Said, yar yar. This movie was quite scary. Had to force Josuke to watch it. He was scared.
Papa Fresh.
Jesus. King of the
Papa
Crips. One more. We'll go with Aquamarine. This movie straight up sucks. Like they ignored that Candyman 1 and 2 exists.
Did they?
I honestly can't remember.
Oh,
Pretty
wow.
fire, not gonna lie.
1 star, then a 5 star. Brody Arnold.
Good shit, Brody.
Who the fuck's writing
relative
this
is
shit?
white. How? He's black.
Who the fuck?
Alexander Boyd wants to know.
7 people found this elf.
Damn. We were like, yeah, how the fuck does that work? Okay.
People.
All right. So that was Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. You know what, Christian? I'll do this one for you. And because we're in the times. Which Leprechaun movie would you like me to look reviews for? Origins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Origins.
Review D. Okay.
2.1 is higher than I thought.
We've got a couple 5s.
Dude, 5 is the second highest rating.
I think these are it's got to be trolls. It's got to be trolls.
What did I tell you? Every movie nowadays has a fan base. That's just reality. People fucking, they know what they like.
Well, Eggman, Christian,
From Sonic?
gives it 4 out of 5. Says, I honestly had a really fun time with this movie. It is by all means a bad movie, and it's not even a Leprechaun movie.
Stop. Oh man, that's all he has to say right there. Like cut out. I would scratch out the rest and leave it right there.
Hey, Eggman's cooking. But Origins is dark and more horror oriented, which makes it interesting and fun. The cast is mostly forgettable, but a couple of good performances. I didn't find one. And some fast-paced scenes keep this movie from the bottom of the barrel. I know all of these horror remakes are bad, but I enjoy watching them. The new goblinish Leprechaun is fun. It is a okay horror movie. I'm going to give Leprechaun Origins a 4 out of 5. It's
So
fun.
If I was putting this out on Blu-ray DVD, I would take the quote from him, interesting and fun, in quotes, 4 stars.
Yes.
On the front of the DVD.
You remember I'll never forget the Halloween Resurrection DVD quotes that I had
Hip
on
and scary or whatever.
it. Oh man, Vincenta Van Gogh. Oh, any relation? Gives it 1 star. Says,
Okay.
first of all, this movie has nothing to do with the original Leprechaun movies. I could have forgiven that if it had turned out good and scary with an actual storyline, but no.
No.
It had a terrible plot with a jumble of predictable horror movie tropes and cliches. All of it compounded with meh to downright bad acting. It was so bad, I was rooting for the monster. I got some satisfaction there, as most of the characters did die stupid deaths. Don't watch it.
It's hard to argue. I mean, you know what I mean?
Christian, I just saw the beginning of one that already sent me. Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Jake Strecker says, this is the absolute best movie I have ever seen. Hornswoggle's acting in this movie rivals any film made by Quentin Tarantino or Wes Anderson.
Or Wes Anderson?
My wife divorced me over this movie because I was too busy watching it to take care of my kids. 10 out of 10.
Well, Jake Stretcher, how's single life? Was it worth it?
Oh, shit.
Oh, but you better call Hornswoggle to pay your bills. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Oh, the other one says, I don't care what any of y'all say. That was the start of it.
Leprechaun Origins is without a doubt my favorite Leprechaun movie. And look, I mean no disrespect to the original, which I love. This one puts a wonderful, creepy, and much-needed twist on the Leprechaun character.
Well, so we needed a twist on the story of a fucking killer leprechaun. We needed a twist on that.
I think everybody had been asking for that, yeah.
We needed a twist.
I think so.
When is enough enough? I mean, fuck.
Last one.
Why can't Frankenstein just be Frankenstein? You know what I mean?
Fisher Wright gives it 1 star. She says, this movie pissed me off so bad. It was like 2 good parts. When they found out they were locked in the cabin and when they tried to trick the little ugly thing to kill it, and it made them kill their friend. That actually was pretty good. Other than that, this movie is stressful and they all deserve to die, especially the last couple. Like, why? Unfortunately, the black-haired girl lived when she sure as hell should have died. Maybe I would be more satisfied.
Well, that's how Tisha feels.
I want to see if
Renee Kerr
gave a review.
No.
I love this series. This is one of the worst movie I have ever seen. This is worse. The Lep 4. I love this series, but in this, it is completely different. Now he is a little gray midget. They're little people. So just do not watch this. It is a waste of your time. 8 people found this helpful.
Hell, 8 people. Damn, dude. Origins got trashed.
All right. Well,
one guy got divorced over it. Jesus Christ.
Give me another one, Christian.
You know what? Now. I was thinking, what about what about son of a bitch, I had it in my head. Halloween Ends.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, let's throw a bone to some of the Ends haters.
Let's get it started.
All right, so just like with every other review.
Look at that. Hold on. This is what is the 1.9 rating? What is this from? Is this mixing together all 3 of these?
No, this is Google.
I know, but you see, okay.
This is just Google audience rating, and then it just gives you what Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, and IMDb's are.
Okay.
Which I've always said from the beginning, though a lot of people didn't want to buy into it, didn't want to believe it, whatever it may be, the opinion on the movie pretty much has always been split, 50-50. I mean, IMDb is literally 50-50. Metacritic's 47. Rotten Tomatoes, little less, but it's as much as there's people that hate the movie, there's just as many that love the movie or are fine.
It's funny. What was I talking about? Because that reminded me of something real quick before we get started. There's a movie I like called Gretel and Hansel, and it's got middle reviews. But I said you got to understand something. That doesn't mean that a bunch of people thought it was all right. I said I really love the movie, but people either loved Gretel and Hansel or they hated Gretel and Hansel. So when you see 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's not because a bunch of people said, "Oh, this movie's fine." You had a bunch of people that said this movie's really, really good. You had a bunch of people that said this movie's really, really bad. So people might get that twisted when they see overall scores for a percentage. That's why I don't like percentages or stuff like that. You know, you gotta you gotta dig a little deeper to find stuff, because I love movies that have either they got people that love it or people that hate it. I always prefer that as opposed to middle of the ground movies,
And
because
I mean,
those are the ones that get forgotten.
yeah, and the biggest sin that a film can make is being unforgettable or boring or eliciting no reaction whatsoever. I'd rather despise a movie or love a movie than walk away feeling meh. I mean, it's just it I want to have a reason to talk about it. And when a movie is just like I don't have a reason to talk about it. So we'll start with a bad one. Justin Salabay says, let me begin by saying that Jamie Lee Curtis is one of my all-time favorite actors and someone that I will pay money at the box office to see no matter what.
Stop. Who the fuck's favorite actress is Jamie Lee Curtis? I mean,
I don't feel like that's that.
Really?
Not for...
There's so many amazing actors and actresses in the world. Nothing against Jamie. She's a great actress. I think she's funny. I think she's actually really funny. The favorite?
Yeah, I mean, she's not my favorite.
Favorite?
No. I mean,
not Robert De Niro.
I can see a lot of millennials.
Not even like Tom Cruise, or because Tom Cruise is very versatile. Like and that's just two examples of like random people. There's other women too. Tons of like Jamie Lee Curtis is your favorite actor. Like it's just I've never heard that before. So no disrespect to this person. God bless him. I have some interesting opinions about actors and actresses myself. Like I get it. Like one of my favorite actors of all time is Michael J. Fox. Now people may find that weird, but I think he's a fantastic actor who's done some great drama. So what am I saying? Maybe I'm just off. I guess I've just never heard that before. Jamie Lee Curtis is my favorite actress. Okay, go ahead.
I don't think I've ever heard that either.
All right, start from the top, and don't. I'm not going to interject. Just read it, and then we'll break.
I read the first couple paragraphs. It's really just recapping the plot and whatnot. But like overall, so stylistically, the movie is really well done. And as stated before, Jamie Lee Curtis commits to her role like few actors could do this deep into a 40-year saga. The writing is terrible, however.
See, that's bullshit too. Really? She's the only actor that can commit to roles like that years later. I don't know Harrison fucking Ford. What? I mean, what are we talking about here? Tom Cruise? Like, what are we talking about here?
The writing is terrible, however, and insulting that we as an audience are expected to believe in the 24-hour whirlwind romance of Allison and Corey. It's actually a couple days, but point taken. It's also unclear how and why Corey goes from bullied nice guy to homicidal freak in just a few short scenes.
He's possessed, jackass.
Yeah, whatever. Had he been a catalyst for bringing Michael back, I could have jumped on board, but this movie left Michael on the sidelines and only came back at the very end after Corey had beaten him down and stolen his mask. Lazy writing, boring story, and weak character development lead this to be an extremely disappointing entry into the Halloween saga. Okay, wait. Just have to say this, Christian. You know, everybody listening right now knows I love the movie and knows that you like the movie. And so obviously I'm going to defend the movie, whatever. The idea of this is to be funny, but I want to read reviews of people just like dumping on it or like loving it, not really like trying to parse it out like this. Because when you do parse it out like this, like there's things that I will take issue with. And like saying that this is weak character development. It is inarguably, in my opinion, of the David Gordon Green 3, the most character development of all three of them. Now, whether you like the characters, totally different story. But I feel like you get to see more from these characters and learn more about these characters in this movie than in Kills or 2018, personally. The only character you get any real time with in 2018 is Jamie Lee. And it's just the Sarah Connor treatment. I mean, there's not a ton of depth there. Halloween Kills, no character development for anyone. That's not the point. Ends, I think, is the only one that actually gives you character development for multiple characters. So, I don't know. I disagree with that. Okay. Trying to find a buzzwordy one.
Here we go.
Louis says, I'd like to thank all the people who had a hand in making this movie.
That's Louis. Hey, Louis.
You have destroyed the very essence of what the Halloween franchise was originally about, and I'm truly upset that these last three movies were made. I'm a diehard Halloween lover, like most of us, and I've never written a review about anything in my life. So that right there should tell you something.
Hell
In my
yeah.
opinion, the original Halloween movies were such a success because it was simple. Michael Myers is the silence in the dark. He dwells in the shadows. He's already where you are trying to get. He is the unknown. He is fear. Wow. The people who made these last three movies turned him into a ninja fighting and what? This is a resurrection and killing a bunch of townspeople in the middle of the street. A group of firefighters at the same time. And now in this movie, a teenager can go right up to him, wrestle him, and steal his mask right off his face and get away with it. I give Rob Zombie a lot of credit. He creates something just as good as the original, and maybe wow, and maybe even enhanced it in some ways.
Well, we stumbled upon something here.
These last three movies destroyed the whole franchise, and in this last movie created a demented 21st century love story instead of a Halloween movie. I felt like I was watching something a 15-year-old girl would find interesting. It was horrible, and now I'm afraid the Halloween franchise will be left with these last three movies for a long time. And anyone growing up who is interested in horror movies will look to these last three movies as the premise of what the Halloween franchise is all about. This movie really left a bad taste in my mouth that won't go away until a new Halloween movie is made by someone who understands the original creator's vision and what drew such a cult following to begin with.
Oh, he's in for a rude awakening when he realized John Carpenter was telling him to do all this shit.
Yep. If you read all my blabber, thank you. Do yourself a favor and don't even watch this movie. It literally seemed like it was made by people who grew up watching the original Halloween movies and said to themselves, what would happen if a bunch of people ganged up, I think is what he's trying to say, ganged up on Michael at the same time? Where does Michael go for all the years he doesn't come back? Is he still powerful when he gets old? All of that is okay and good to question, but some things are better left to question or be unknown, which in and of itself is the essence of what Michael Myers is. Okay, fucking wait, Lewis, whatever your name is. You just raked David Gordon Green over the coals for answering some of the questions of where Michael Myers goes when he's not killing and his, taking away the essence of Michael Myers. While just a few sentences later, praising Rob Zombie for literally doing the same thing. For literally giving the same answer to Michael Myers.
To be fair, Rob's movies are way better than the Blumhouse movies. So I kind of feel
Halloween 2 is way better. But I'm just saying,
I would take both of Rob's over these.
You contradict yourself in the review, though.
Yeah, I see what you're
saying. What he should have said, because you're allowed to feel however you want to feel, is right. I just don't like the answers they gave me. Not that this is terrible because they gave me answers. Because you just said you loved that someone else gave you different answers.
It's one of those things. I don't even know if the Halloween fans, which I don't want to say it like that. I'm including myself in that. It'd be silly for me not to say I'm not a Halloween fan. I stopped asking questions a long time ago because I really think people want to see a movie like the first one again. And that's not going to happen. So it's just one of those things. It's like after 13 movies, they're going to do different shit. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. And I'm not defending them because that doesn't mean I'm just going to say I like whatever they put out either. I'm with you guys, but honestly, it's just like, get over it. I'm so over the Rob Zombie destroyed Halloween. The Blumhouse destroyed Halloween. Do you know what the word destroyed means? Can you people look up the definition? If that's the case, I want Blumhouse to destroy me so they can put a bunch of money in my fucking pocket. Like, what are we? It's once you get to a certain age, like I'm gonna be 32 in a month. Hearing stuff like that, I really just want to just shove my head into a brick wall because it's so juvenile. Yes. I'm over it. I'm over arguing about it. I'm over talking about it. I'm over even listening to it.
It's exhausting. I mean, it is exhausting. I told you that last week when I made that video about Rob Zombie, how in my opinion, I think he saved the Halloween franchise. And you made the argument, you were right, and I mentioned it in my video. Blumhouse did too. Halloween needed saving 4 times now. Halloween 4 saved the franchise. Halloween H2O did. Rob Zombie's Halloween, and Halloween 2018 did, because the franchise lay dormant. Nobody took it seriously anymore, blah, blah, blah. So anytime I hear the argument that like Blumhouse or Rob Zombie or whoever maybe destroyed Halloween, I'm like, it literally did the opposite. Like the opposite. People gave a shit about that character again. People wanted, there were movies made that made a lot of money and people went
Yeah.
to go
That,
see them.
yeah.
So it may have destroyed what you liked about Halloween,
It's
but it
all
did the
about
complete
money.
opposite.
It's all about money. If it's making money, it's alive. If it's not making money, it's dead.
Stick a fork in it.
It's that simple.
All
Like
right, Christian.
I'm
Well,
over it.
we got one more for Halloween Ends, and I like this
Good.
one. His name is Gender My Balls.
Oh, that you know who that is? That's obviously it's a silly count, but Jinder Mahal, he's a pro wrestler. He's this big Indian dude. He's fucking ripped. Now, if this was Jinder, I'm not saying anything bad about what Jinder says because he could pummel me. But this is not
Well,
Jinder Mahal. This is Jinder Mahals.
just Gender My Balls. He
Go
said
ahead.
0 stars. It was terrible to me. I know some people liked it. I don't know how they would or how it would get a positive review at all, especially
Yeah.
from a true horror fan.
Hell
Yes.
yeah, Jinder. Hell
Here
yeah.
we go. Plot was pointless. Michael looked weak, had no screen time hardly. He didn't kill much at all. It focused on a pointless character that just died in the end with no direction or thought. Ending was bad. Had a terrible fight scene of Michael getting overwhelmed by Lori, lasted 2 seconds. And they made Lori's daughter fall in love too quick and said absolutely nothing when he explained he killed someone that night. She thought he was talking about the little kid, you dumbass. Just waved it off like it was nothing. Again, she thought he was talking about Jeremy. Terrible plot. It was the worst horror movie I've ever seen in my 29 years. It was a mess. Is this me? Did I write this? IDK how Jamie Lee Curtis would be okay with this. She should have let Michael live on. That's what we all wanted. The fans deserved better.
She should. Man, she don't give a fuck.
She
Like
gives absolutely no fucks.
that's the one thing I like about Jamie, man. She's all fucking business.
Yeah.
What are you paying me? How much work is it? How much do we have to do?
Yeah, but I will say
know?
about Jamie, it actually did seem like with this new trilogy that she was actually into it. Like it really did. It really
She was
did
into
seem
the
like,
she was into the people she was working with.
yeah, she liked the people.
She's
I
not
think she
watching these
liked.
fucking movies. She don't give a
No,
fuck about these movies.
no, but I
She
it
was
just
into the
seemed like,
people she worked with.
yeah, some of the love for it was there. I feel like with the fans or the people she was working with, and I thought that was really cool because after 40 plus years, you'd probably get burnt out. That the fans deserve better, or they both should have died together in some epic way at least. I think it ruined Michael Myers' legacy. Oh, here we go again. The
Here we go.
Halloween series died with Donald Pleasance, in my opinion. But even
I
then,
kind of agree with that. I mean, it's
in
never the same.
in
Never the
ways,
same.
yes, that is not. It'll never be the same. That's very true. Let's see. Even then, H2O Resurrection and Rob Zombie's movies were better than this heap of garbage. As a fan that watched all the Halloweens every year as a tradition, it just didn't hit the mark in any sense of the word. Very disappointed as a horror fan. And I wish I could get my 2 wasted hours back. Just a terrible way to end the legacy of one, if not the best horror villains in existence, and made him look weak and defenseless, and wasted a lot of people's time and money. And again, as we said earlier, and Christian and I have said many times before, when you come at your review from the pompous, this is a true horror fan speaking here, everyone. Listen, if you liked this movie, I don't know how you could. You're not a true horror fan. I'm immediately like, I don't give a shit about your review. I don't care. Like, yeah. I don't know. What'd you think about Gender My Balls?
I don't know, man. These just reading stuff like that, just I feel like I want to remove my tattoos. It's like can nobody
They're the worst. They're the
I,
worst.
nobody can have a normal conversation. Like I mean, of course people can, but not on the internet. It's in real life I'll have normal conversations, but on the internet, no. People, what can I say, dude? People are attached to these movies in a way that it's just personal. It's that simple. I think that's the case. It is personal to people. So I can understand their feelings on that sort of thing, but it's tiring. It's very tiring for me.
No, I get it. And as a Halloween fan, as you all know, I agree with Christian and the general sentiment of the internet sometimes that Halloween fans truly are the worst. Though Scream fans are getting there. They're giving Halloween fans a run for their money. They really, really are. It's getting to a point. I don't like to throw around toxic word because I feel like people throw that shit around all the time just for effect. It is what it is. I don't think it's necessarily toxic if you like something so much or don't like it so much. It's the belittling and degrading and putting people down and personal attacks and insults if someone doesn't like one of your movies or did like one of the movies. It's really weird. It's corny shit. And like, I think people need help. All right. Jason Takes Manhattan. This should be fun.
Okay.
Stephen Thorley says, respected film critic, Leonard Maltin suggested Jason Takes Manhattan was imaginatively directed.
Okay.
The film uses some imaginative scenarios for Jason to stalk and kill his victim. The direction itself lacks confidence. It is very by the numbers. The director doesn't push the material and stays well within the confines of a very basic script.
What?
Many of the reviews speak of exploitation cinema. In fact, these films were well financed by Paramount Pictures horror productions and fall into the slasher film genre. Wow.
Stop.
Thank you.
Stop. Read that again. They were what? They were well financed.
Well financed.
Well
Paramount
financed.
Pictures horror productions and fall into the slasher film genre.
That's just well fine. That's funny. I guarantee you, if Rob Heaton read that out loud, these films were well financed. He'd fucking
Laugh
shit.
his ass off.
He would
Yeah.
shit his drawers reading that.
How many times did we hear with Friday the 13th movies that like the cutbacks with each movie got worse and worse to the point where by the time we got to part 8, anybody that knows anything, Paramount was done.
Well, the thing, there wasn't. I'm not trying to be that guy. It wasn't that there were cutbacks. It's that they were always done super cheap. That's why they were able to continue making them. They were super cheap.
They were never, no matter how successful the previous one was, and
They kept the budget low.
Yeah, they'd never give the next movie a huge increase in production budget.
It stayed the same. That was the reason they kept making them, because even though when they were making them, when you can lose box office going from 30s to 19 millions to 22 millions and still keep going because you're making them that's how cheap they were making. How much, like, if you have a movie go from 33 million down to fucking 25, and then the next one go to 19, like, oh, I guess the writing's on the wall. But no, they're making them so cheap. That's how cheap they were. So well financed is just
hilarious.
It's just that would never come out of my mouth,
especially at this
describing
time.
These movies.
That's my thing. It is well documented in history that by the time we got to Jason Takes Manhattan, Paramount did not fucking care anymore. They didn't care, which is why not long after this movie came out, they were done. They washed their hands of it. They were done. Like, to them, Jason was a fading entity. Something that was no longer viable. That's how they felt.
Mancuso Jr., he also said, I'm not going to produce anymore. And he was basically the driving the train. And so when he left, it was just like, okay, where do we go from here now? Nobody's spearheading any of this. And yes, Manhattan had a few more bucks thrown at it, but $5 million in 1989, when you're trying to make a movie about Manhattan, is I think if you talk to any producer in reality now with this idea, they would laugh. Granted, why they shot in there for 2 days and they had to shoot at 4 a.m. So like I said, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just going to say well financed and Friday the 13th would never come out of my mouth ever. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, we'll get this, Christian. This Sarah Kilpatrick's already off to a great start.
Okay.
Spoilers, maybe. The Asian chick, I got in a little more than an hour before it'll be done. So she's not even done with the movie.
Okay.
As she's writing this review. Finds her friend dead in the shower and she doesn't scream. Just turns and runs. People experience shock and fear and sadness differently, so I don't care about that reaction. My issue is, one, then why mention it? My issue is, one, she never screams for help as he's chasing her, when there are several people on board still. Second, she ends up in a little party disco room. Cute, whatever. Places to hide. And I think you also see another door or two as she's looking around in the center of the dance floor. Great. Does she ever leave the center of the dance floor? Nope. She spends in a slowish circle, looking at everything for what feels like 5 to 10 minutes before he inevitably kills her. Who wrote that part? I would love to discuss the rest of the movie, but out of all the horror movies I've seen, I love Michael Myers and some of Elm Street, Chucky, Conjuring series, It, Shining, etc. This is actually some of the stupidest writing. I would rather hype up a movie or show or book series, but they didn't try too hard with this clearly. Even if enjoy if you want dumbness, death, and unreasonably rude people.
I don't think I'm going to convert her to like this movie, so she's lost hope. Dr. Kregler? What the fuck was that? We gotta look up a couple of Elm Streets, like 5 and 6.
Oh, we're going to next. Dr. Kegler says, let
And
me start
2.
by saying Jason Voorhees is the most entertaining slasher of the 80s horror film craze. But as
Close,
time
but I wouldn't
flies,
agree.
yeah, his movies become more painful to watch. I don't understand this plot whatsoever.
Come on,
Spoiler.
Kegler.
So Jason has a long-term connection with a young girl who fell in the same lake as him. Now, years later, at a senior cruise ship getaway to Manhattan, he wants to exact revenge, taking all this frustration on some not-so-innocent children. I don't mean to compare, but Freddy's franchise makes way more sense. Now you're talking. And we're talking about someone killing in your dreams. Only watch this movie if you're new to the franchise or want a recap. Otherwise, skip it. FYI, the Darkest Side of the Night song somehow fits with this movie.
Darkest Side of the Night is an amazing song, and it makes the movie, Mr. Kegler.
That's Dr. Kegler to you.
It's just one of those things, right? I mean, I have no issue saying I make excuses for it. It's fun. It's one of those movies that it gives me nostalgia without giving me nostalgia. I feel like it reminds me of being really, really young when I was a little kid, and it gives me those weird feelings of just innocence. Even though I never saw the movie when I was a little kid, it still manages to give me that, and that's something I can't deny about Jason Takes Manhattan. So,
Look, man, we all have those movies. I feel like if we're being honest, I feel like if you look at a lot of these movies that we loved growing up and we have a lot of nostalgia for with like a critical lens, there's a lot to pick apart. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. There's a lot to pick apart.
look under Freddy's Dead. What does it say past after the date? I want you to say that out loud to me. Right under Freddy's
horror
Dead.
comedy.
Okay, so get ready to read a bunch of This Wasn't Even Scary.
I'm ready for it. Audience reviews for Fred's Dead. Here we go.
Okay.
I purchased a Blu-ray box set of the Nightmare on Elm Street films series recently to review them, having only ever seen Freddy vs. Jason. I enjoyed the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but the sequels mostly aren't anywhere near as entertaining as the first film, excluding the surprisingly good Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street 6 was retitled Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, and it can be viewed as a standalone entry because it doesn't carry on the plot from the previous 5 films. It's a brand new story, but canon within the franchise. The acting is pretty hit and miss, but Yaphet Kotto, right? I said that right? Yeah.
Yaphet, yeah. You good?
Yeah, Yaphet. I knew his first name. I wanted to make sure I got the last name right. And Lisa Zane, beautiful. We're all right. The camera work in this film is quite different to all the previous movies in that it has quick transitions, and they use a floating camera instead of fixed that twists and turns around characters for added effect. I'm not for or against this technique, but it didn't make the film any better. Let's just say that. It's pretty disappointing, and it's clear they were running out of ideas for the franchise at this point. The story revolves around a psychologist and a teenage student who suffer from similar nightmares and are drawn to a secluded little town with no children to find out why. They're joined by 3 other teenage runaways who you just know are going to be the victims. Freddy's backstory and childhood is explored a bit more via memory flashbacks, and the supposed idea of Freddy having a child was interesting, but the script was piss poor, and it felt like one big wasted opportunity for extra character development.
Okay.
The character deaths were comical, that's the point, more than scary, right down to the music and sound effects used. It just had a cheesy feel to the whole film. Alice Cooper, Roseanne Barr, and Johnny Depp make cameo appearances, which is kind of cool, but none of them could do anything to save this poor excuse of a horror film. Final verdict, it's not scary and lacked any semblance of actual fun. The special effects are somewhat unique, but poorly executed. The story does nothing to advance the franchise, rehashes the idea from previous.
Advance the franchise. It's the
It's the last one. That was the idea. Yeah. The story doesn't like having another teenager who knows martial arts. Too much focus on the cheap 3D effects and nothing else. You can and should skip this one. And you can and should have put money on Christian saying that the first review was going to say it's not scary. Because he fucking said it.
You see, it's just one of those things, right? It's like you can spell it out in documentaries. You can tell people this is going to be like, you can outwardly in the first 5 minutes of the movie show people this is a comedy, but it goes over people's heads, I think. And if you still say, well, Christian, it doesn't matter, I'm not into it, I'm not going to argue with you. I have no desire. Listen, I have a lot more going on in my life than to try to make you like Freddy's Dead. Because believe me, it has no bearing on me. Okay? I will continue to enjoy Freddy's Dead at my own leisure. And but it does get frustrating hearing stuff like that. Like, it's not scary. I wanted it to be scary. Okay, that's totally different. Totally different. But saying it's not scary is like saying, well, Nick's not fat enough for me. No, he's not fat. He's skinny. He's not fat. What do you want to? What do you?
I'm 180. I'm a healthy weight.
It's like, what are you saying then? It's like, you're not making any sense. Just makes sense. So I don't know. That was exactly what I was expecting. And what do you say? I need you to we need to further the franchise.
Yeah, it didn't do anything to further the franchise, Christian.
My brother. It's the final nightmare. It's the final nightmare.
Well, Damian Boyce gave it 2 stars and says, so here it is. The movie that reportedly was to finally kill off Freddy Krueger. Just like Friday the 13th, the final chapter was to finally kill off Jason Voorhees. Not. Freddy Krueger has now moved from scary dream demon to full-on comedic presence.
Yeah.
Sadly, what should have been the big final hoorah for the franchise turns into the weakest in the series. Originally shot with the final half hour in 3D. Yes, I remember the 3D. I went to the cinema to see this movie, and the 3D really didn't add anything worthwhile.
I agree.
What should be Freddy's frightening, explosive exit is just sadly a disappointment and played for laughs, which take away any attempt at tension. It's an okay film, but what was at the time the final Nightmare on Elm Street should have been terrifying, not just okay. Even Freddy's final demise is played for fun. This film did try something new with the story, but the film is poorly realized and almost feels rushed, and is clearly the weakest movie in the entire franchise.
I can't stand the way people, there's this, you can read a review and you can guess who it would be from if, like, you watch YouTube reviews and stuff, and you could say there's at least 50 people that this could be from because they all sound the fucking same. This movie is poorly realized, lacks imagination, doesn't further the story. The cinematography wasn't great. Like, I purposely avoid all this stuff so I don't sound like a fucking AI. Like, everybody says this stuff. I don't understand how nobody. It's like the Truman Show. Am I the only one that, like, sometimes am I the only one that realizes everybody sounds the same?
No, I agree. I agree with you. It's parody.
Like, how about just this is let me give, like, for anybody out there that wants to review movies, again, I'm not even a great movie reviewer, but this is what I can say. When you hit the red light, don't think of it as a camera. Think of it as your buddy and you're driving home talking about the movie. Okay? You're not going to talk like that. Everybody talks like that, and it's the same shit. If you what do you call it when they write down shit? Like in the courtroom when people are talking, they get the transcript. Stick the transcript on a paper and say which movie reviewer did that. You wouldn't be able to tell half the time because it all sounds the same. There's a few things I wanted to talk about with this, though.
Making movies is really hard, and
it is really hard.
Anybody that makes movies. I know that. Anyway, continue.
Scroll back up a little bit. There's a few things I wanted to comment on about this
From
because this
from
is
Damien.
the Freddy stuff. I like to break down. I agree with him. He says I went to the 3D. The 3D didn't really add anything worthwhile. Yeah, terrible idea to make one part of a movie 3D. I don't think it's been done before or since. Very stupid. The whole movie should have been 3D. Which
And
would
it
have been
makes
cool.
that last act age poorly too. It really
Uh,
does.
well, poor age poorly. I don't know if I would agree with that. It's just ridiculous, like the rest of the movie. But I will say, I think the ending of 4 and 5 are both better fitting ends, and ironically, than Freddy's Dead.
I'm,
Like in the way
to
the
me,
mama,
the greatest vanquishing of Freddy is Dream Master.
with the mirror, I mean, it's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I like 2
Well,
the
I mean,
most.
that's you got the souls coming up and shit. I thought that the
Oh, for the
effects.
effects, yeah.
Oh,
I'm talking about in the way they go
no,
about
not the
it.
conceit. The fucking mirror is kind of stupid, but the effects of it,
I
that
like
shit's really.
the mirror. I like the mirror. It's old school. It's very universal horror. And I like the way the mama pulls him back into the pit or back into the cathedral at the end of 5.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool.
I feel like the irony is the way he dies in Freddy's Dead is like the least fitting, is less fitting than the previous 2. So I agree with him on that. Okay, go on. I want to do
I
Dream.
will say I feel like his review is pretty fair. I do. He gave it. He said the movie's okay.
And he lived it too, so, I mean, I
Yeah,
can't take that away either. He was
yeah.
there, so
He's
he knows
not
what
being
the culture was like.
He was saying, the movie's fine. It's okay for what it is, but it should have been X,
Oh
Y,
god,
Z.
stop,
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it, Christian.
Some
I just didn't want to put it on the screen yet.
I finally saw somebody make sense.
Trashy Pies. It was silly, stupid, but it had a funny twist to end the movie. This was the type of thing they were aiming to do. As much as people hated it, it's actually okay. I love the humor they used. It wasn't supposed to be scary, guys.
Thank
At
you.
least they tried something new. There have
Trashy
been enough
pie.
scary films to express Freddy Krueger, so you'd expect the scares. Can you ever get bored of that, guys? 10 out of 10. 11 people found that helpful.
I mean, I wouldn't go 10 out of 10 because I've gotten really stiff on my ratings because I realized if I give something I really love 5 stars, I'm putting it in the caliber of movies like um, Shawshank Redemption or fucking, you know, the biggest movies in the world, the most influential movies in the world, Raising Cain,
The Lambs,
not Raising Cain, Citizen Kane, like all that shit. So I've gotten really stiff on my
Raising
reviews.
Chicken Fingers. Yeah.
I love Raising Cain, but I wouldn't give that 5 stars. Silence of the Lambs is a 5-star movie, like stuff like that. So like, I agree with everything they said, but I can't give it 10 out of 10.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, Samanth B says cartoon show.
Okay.
From the most vicious horror movie to the most comic movie, this franchise dropped too low. Since Freddy is a dream parasite, how many times he gets killed in each movie he keeps on coming
Parasite.
back? At least there is a logic in few movies for his revival. In this one, it is totally logicless. From where it started and to where it is going, we can't even imagine. Also, wow, this is really bad. The most irritating thing in this movie is everything. Story, acting, visual effects, whatnot. Everything is terrible. Freddy is one of the most vicious and dangerous villain in horror genre. In this movie, they showed him like a comedy character. After watching all the movies in this franchise, I can tell that only first movie is good. Remaining, all avoidable. Could not disagree more with that closing statement.
I what she said, I can't. I'm not going to argue with what she said because she basically said, "I don't like the direction this went in." I'm not going to argue with that.
No, but I
That
will argue with the
is
first
worded
one worth watching.
is worded very well though.
Yes, yeah. I feel like it was a language barrier thing because it was definitely a
Oh,
foreign name.
clearly.
In no way was that, were we trying to be like, oh, but it's hard to read sometimes. It definitely
It read
is.
funny. It read funny.
Daniel, yo, come. 1 star. Okay, to be honest, this film is just horrible. I mean, they have taken a classic horror icon like Freddy Krueger, can't even spell his name right, and turned him into a full-blown Looney Tune, can't even spell Looney Tune right, like Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. Can't even spell it. Jesus.
Give him
And
a break.
also,
Give him a break.
the part when the house was falling, Freddy was the Wicked Witch, was from The Wizard of Oz. They did do a way to kill Freddy, but I still think it would be better off if it was not in virtual reality and be out in the real world in Springwood.
Just move on. There's so much. I can't.
Imagine how much that hurt my brain reading that.
Just move on.
Let's see. Let's get one more good one. I want to see one that's really grabbing me.
Okay.
Here we go. Richard Russell.
Okay, Richard. Let's see.
The
Let's
worst Freddy Krueger. Why can't no one spell fucking Krueger? The worst Freddy Krueger movie. Yes, I think it is worse than the 2010 remake.
Okay.
Oh my God, shocking. The characters are annoying. Some of the special effects are really bad. And the story is so broken and confusing, I could not understand what was happening half of the film. The only saving grace of the film is Robert Englund. He's a joy to watch. He always delivers as Freddy.
That's just
really
truth. Yeah.
Peter Jackson's script was the one that was picked up instead of whatever this was. Christian, I'm sure you're familiar with that Peter Jackson script, correct?
Yeah, I'm if it was in Never Sleep Again, is that the one where they go into the dream and they kick his ass until he fights back? Yeah, I think that sounds stupid as fuck too, to be honest with you. I mean, who are we kidding?
I do too, and I covered it 2 weeks ago on my channel, and I said as much. I was like, the idea was for them to go into the dream world and bully Freddy Krueger. I was like, that sounds really dumb, and it kind of diminishes the character. But then the script was to go that after that, he would have essentially, like, I don't know, awoken essentially from his.
Yeah, he got his fucking ass kicked, so he decided, I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. What do you mean, awoken? How many times you gotta poke somebody until they fucking fight back? It's stupid. He went on to do better things, so I don't think Peter Jackson's gonna be that upset that I think his Freddy script was stupid. It's just stupid.
Okay.
I almost said a bad word there.
You did. All right. Give me one, Christian. Come on. We did a Jason one, we did a Freddy one, we did a Leprechaun one, we did a Myers one.
Let's throw a curveball in. Let's do like a movie that's kind of middle of the road. Let's look up Trick or Treat. Let's see if there's any 1 stars for that.
You know, believe it or not, I have a podcast that I listen to. I've talked about it before, guys. Now Playing. I love the podcast. If any of you guys listen to Now Playing, Stuart is my spirit animal. Arnie can be kind of a prick sometimes, and I can't remember if it was him on their Trick or Treat review or if it was one of the other hosts, but one of them did not like this movie, and they said that I don't think it was Arnie, and they basically said that, like, might have been Jacob. I don't know. If you know the podcast, you know what I'm talking about. It's a really popular movie review podcast, and their episode on Trick or Treat, I've actually listened to it 2 or 3 times over the years because one of the hosts didn't get it and was like making this argument that it doesn't make sense all tied together. It's not a good anthology. And I was just like, what the fuck is a good anthology to you then? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's better than, people arguing it's not an anthology.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay. Trick or Treat audience reviews. We're going to find some 1 stars here.
Okay.
My friends. Because it says there's some. So let's find them, Christian.
All right.
You ready?
I'm looking.
Okay, god damn it. I'm surprised, by the way, that this is not lagging like hell, guys. That I've been sharing my screen this whole time and it's been working. The magics of having a laptop that isn't total shit now.
Yeah, I had to pull my Chromebook out. I'm using it in my other studio room, and I'm surprised at how good it does. I mean, as long as you don't use it for anything else and you just use it to stream and the internet, there's nothing wrong with them.
Porn on your laptop, guys. It will destroy your laptop. No, I'm not speaking from experience. We all have smartphones now. I have a buddy named Dave who did that to a laptop when we were in high school.
Is that the one that looks like Piz Owl?
Dave? I don't know. He's got like a ZZ Top fucking beard.
Okay. One of your buddies, you always said, looks just like Piz Owl.
That's Tommy. That's
Tommy.
Tommy.
Okay. Tommy
Tommy
looks
watches
like
my
Piz Owl.
channel. So Tommy, if you're you know who Piz is. If you're listening, that's a compliment. All right, Xenia Brady gives it 1 star and says this movie's terrible. The twists are spoon-fed and anticlimactic. When they are finally delivered, it has been dragged out for so long between boring suspense and bad dialogue that any thrill might have been delivered is completely killed. I felt so disappointed. It's not heightened enough to be campy. It's not inventive enough to be original. Not really worth the time it took to watch it. Did the studio pay for all these glowing reviews? I really just don't get it. And of course, I love that, Christian. I love the conspiracy theory when people are like, the studio's paying for these reviews.
Do you think that happens though? Like, no bullshit. Do you think studios ever pay for reviews?
For superhero movies, yes. I do think it has happened for superhero movies. But on the whole, no. Not a chance. Not a chance. I do think it's weird that in recent history we've seen a lot more horror movies get positive reviews, which is the total opposite of what we've been used to for the longest time. I remember when Halloween 2018 came out and had like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's like a 79. That's where it settled at. I was like, no fucking way. No way. And I don't know, I guess, but yes, I do believe sometimes, but I think it's more for really superhero movies because let's be honest, a lot of people have superhero fatigue. You know, you're trying to get your superhero movie to stand out. So it's like, reviews are so good.
It's bad when I don't even watch them and I'm sick of the sight of them. You can't get away from it.
No, I know, but I am very, very, very excited for Deadpool 3. I think that's going to kick ass. The Batman Part 2 and Joker Fully Adieu, the sequel, but that's really about it. I don't really
Batman Part 2 is going to be 4 hours long.
I hope so. I mean, we're going to be waiting by the time it comes out almost 4 years or 4 years. Yeah, give me.
Yeah, they got to film. They got to film 18 hours worth of footage.
I am taking it in stride, brother. All right.
Something in the way.
Allison Hunsaker says, "Here's a summary." Hunsaker. It's a weird town and it's Halloween night. Okay, it is Warren Valley, Ohio, which is directly, by the way, just want to let you guys know, was directly pulled from where I grew up, Warren County, Ohio. Michael Dougherty said that was the impetus for Warren Valley, Warren County. So Trick or Treat is based off of where I grew up. So,
is that in Tornado Alley? In Tornado Alley, but kind of not.
It's right outside. Yeah, like
you know where I'm referencing?
What? No,
I'm referencing you.
Wow, when?
Years ago, when you reviewed Halloween 3.
Oh my God! Yes. When I was talking about how the fucking
siren was going off.
Yeah, because I was at Dave's house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tornado Alley, but it's really not. Yeah. Yes. By the way, yeah, it's not a weird little town, Allison. It's whatever. People getting murdered. Some smashed pumpkins. Some did nothing, but exist anyway. The only story doesn't even relate to Sam, the scarecrow guy. Oh my God.
He's a
pumpkin demon. Anyway, not even sure how he's the main character. There's a random vampire werewolf Halloween party where all the vampires and werewolves must rip their clothes off for no reason. I don't know. When's the last time, Christian, you saw a fucking werewolf fully clothed? Like, if we're going to have a werewolf in a movie, they're not going to have clothes on. This isn't Scooby-Doo.
Please, Allison, I'd love to know your experience with werewolves.
Don't waste your time. Not worth the watch. And guys, Allison is super fun at parties. Super fun at parties. I've heard from many people.
Cheers, Allison.
Okay. Another one. Here we go.
Julissa A. Godin.
Cringiest, but clingiest movie I have ever seen in my entire life. It's so bad that I had to write a review. It was my first time watching it, and it will be my last. Yeah, you stand your ground, girl. I wonder how terrible part 2 is. There isn't one. But I do think the mask of the little creature in the orange onesie is adorable.
I didn't see that coming. So they are making a part 2.
They've been making a part 2 for a
but
decade.
They didn't tell me. Didn't they say that Winona Ryder is going to be in it?
Yeah, and I actually followed that up with Brad from Bloody Disgusting last year, and he confirmed that to me, but it still hasn't moved forward. But yes, she is eyed to have a lead role in it, or at least
Oh, so it's not. It's what
she
does
was
that
eyed.
mean? She's eyed. Somebody looked at her. What the fuck are we talking
No,
about?
it means that there have been discussions. They just hadn't signed a contract yet, so there was mutual interest.
Okay.
Anytime you get reporting that an actor is being eyed or a director is being eyed for something, it means that they are in active talks. It's not just one sided. We'd really like to have that person,
Okay.
but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they ever even make the second one. Doherty, he's not doing anything right now. His excuse for a while was, oh, well, I did Krampus and then Godzilla. So I remember him saying after King of the Monsters, now I'm going to get back to the drawing board with Trick or Treat. And he did. He wrote a script, and Legendary liked the script. So they greenlit the sequel, and they did a whole announcement for it and everything, and then nothing. So I don't know. I really don't. But I love
I mean,
Doherty as a director. So
my thing is this. It's like if they make a sequel, cool. If they don't, I love the first movie, but the thing is, if they're gonna keep shoving this fucking Trick or Treat stuff down my throat at Spirit Halloween every year, you may as well give me something new to
exactly.
look at as opposed to the same fucking stuff. Make a part 2 already then. Just do it. That way, if you're gonna keep pumping Trick or Treat merchandise down my fucking throat and shoving it up my ass every year, give me part 2 stuff. That way I can at least have something new, for God's sakes. This is the one time I'm actually begging for a sequel.
Yeah, I mean you're milking it for more than it's been worth at this point. You might as well. I don't know. I agree.
I mean, it was really cool in 2019 when 2018, 2019 when they did all the Sam things like that, the sitting on a pumpkin and all that shit. Like I was loving it. I was like, this is so cool. Then the next year they did it again. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Then the next year they did it again. I was like, this is cool. Then the next year they did it again. I was like, ah. And then the next year they did it again. I was like, all right, I get it. And then the next year they did it again. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit. Give me a new movie.
Yeah.
It's like, how many years in a row can we pump this stuff down people's throats? Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
No, I hear you. All right. So, Jill, 1 star. Well, I can't tell you where it was going. I can't tell you the core of the movie, which direction, left or right, east or west. I can tell you, if you do things around housework or chores, you won't miss a thing because I'm still scratching my head on where this movie was going. Well, guys, Jill is stupid. Um, I really, I really don't know how else to put that. How do you not know where it was? I don't know. She's dumb. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
I don't know,
Uh,
Jill.
All right, Christian. Well, let's do one more before we do our closing salvo here. Let's pick one that is widely regarded to be a good movie. And let's find some bad reviews of it.
Okay.
You give me a movie that you're like, most people love this movie. Whether you love it too or not it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Let's do. Let me pick something good. Let's do Psycho 2.
Okay. Oh wow,
I think that's a good one to pick.
Wow.
Oh, never mind. Can't do.
There's not a single 1 star.
Okay.
Again.
How about Terrifier 2?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I did not see that coming. Wow.
We might have stumbled upon something cool here.
This is a good last one, y'all. All right, let's see here. Let's find some.
I love the fact that Psycho 2 has no 1-star reviews.
That is pretty interesting. All right, here we go.
Bella Babe.
Hey. I loved the first Terrifier. It didn't take itself too serious, and it was the perfect length. About an hour and 20 minutes long or so. Terrifier 2 was almost double in length. A whole 2 hours and like
so far.
minutes. And it was far from necessary. I think the creator overshot due to the popularity that I'm sure he didn't expect to receive from the first one. There were multiple scenes that were very sloppy, obvious scenes that should have been retaken, and some scenes that were simply drawn out. How many times do we need to see a character in shock and just stand there? Still not even sure if her friend's mom died or not. They kind of skipped over that part when you see the mom walk in on him tearing apart her kid. No, because he has her head is the trick-or-treat bucket thing. Anyway, and then for some reason, they choose to graze over the main character mom's death. She got her fucking head blown off by a shotgun. What do you mean? Let's see. I guess suicide is you also never hear how the father died. I guess suicide is insinuated. They say the brother wants to dress as the clown, but that's quickly lost plotline because, again, they didn't retouch on it in a deeper level.
He's got plans.
Yes.
Chill out.
Supernatural demon stuff is whatever, decent enough, but to simply throw that in without any real explanation, I mean, seriously, Sienna is somehow also a character in this universe with some kind of powers, and the damn clown cafe scene should have been edited out altogether. Disagree. It really added nothing. It was like, dude, he shot everyone with a Tommy gun. That was fucking awesome. It was like a drawn-out 10-minute scene with repetitive singing. This film should have never been an entire hour longer than the first. It seriously was not needed. Even when I started to enjoy it, it just faded out back into boring, and me constantly questioning why the scenes are being so drawn out. I also found it a bit comical that they didn't really touch on the demon girl past her being a victim of his. She's a figment of his imagination. She's not real. I just don't understand why some people can see the little demon girl, but in the laundromat scene, they clear as day show the demon girl as some kind of figment of his imagination. She is. There's clearly a connection, though, obviously, with the kids, but whatever. Again, like you said, he has fucking plans. Anyway? Again, why involve the dad so much? His drawings, blah 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 fucking blah 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 blah. Terrifier was a solid 7 out of 10. Terrifier 2 was a solid 2 out of 10. No puns intended. Only great thing I have to say is props to them for shoveling out garbage for $250,000 and making triple your profit back.
She didn't like it.
I don't think she did.
You know?
Okay. Alex says,
What the hell is that profile picture? Is that Pokemon? What the hell is that?
I don't know. That or some anime thing. I don't really.
Okay.
Sequel that no one wanted but still got from last year.
Stop. Where did they come up with this shit? It's like can you imagine can you imagine if I go to review Star Wars The Force Awakens?
I'd love to see it.
Here I am reviewing a movie nobody asked for, nobody wanted. Like, really? Nobody asked for Star Wars?
Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's like you did have a bunch of like old fuddy-duddies with 2018. Like, nobody wanted to see Michael Myers come back. This is ridiculous. Like, what?
I love this shit, dude. They're killing me. They're killing me with this. Okay, go ahead.
After 2016's last entry, where we thought the titular clown named Art, I've always loved titular, played by David Howard Thornton, was off, he somehow manages to come back from the dead and makes victims of the living. Focusing on his sister and brother, Lauren Rivera and Elliot Fulham, you can tell this guy really thinks he's a serious reviewer, who seem to be touched with insight into Art as visions of him plague them. And
really quick, Nick, why do people review a movie and they'll say, blah, 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 stars, blah, 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 and was directed by blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a fuck what the name of the actors are and who directed it.
I mean,
they just want to know if you like the movie.
I think the reason that people do it is because I think they want to give the viewer or the listener the impression that they are knowledgeable on what they're talking about. And if
I guess so, but any jackass can Google who directed the fucking movie. Does that make you knowledgeable?
Exactly.
I mean,
I don't put much stock into that myself. But.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just riffing. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Art, not really having any plan of action, mows his way through countless souls, leaving a gory wake as he finally comes upon Lauren, or Lavera, who he ran into at a costume shop at a final showdown at a disused carnival. I mean, where else? Made on a shoestring budget, much like its predecessor, which was budgeted at $30K. The entry definitely has spent the money where it counts, adding an additional hour of runtime but the joy, if you can call it that, of the original was in leanness and presentation. But here, with its additional intimations of a supernatural lineage, we get a lot of gobbledygook acting as a doorstopper for storytelling, with over-the-top gore overstaying its welcome almost immediately. Over-the-top gore, Christian.
It is very interesting how people perceive
a movie. Because you will hear a lot of people say, "Man, I really loved." This guy was saying no storytelling, etc., etc.
Cook.
But then you hear a lot of people say, "Man, I really loved how we learn about the kids. We really get to see what's going on with the mama and how she." And it's you hear the total opposite. So it's man, perception is nobody can have your perception but you, right? And it's just amazing how we can perceive things that are directly in front of us so differently from one another. It really is fascinating, especially when they come from a place that you don't see and can really really have a hard time trying to see it from their perspective. It's amazing, amazing.
All right, Christian. Well, here we go with Sophie Tompkins.
Okay.
I saw the last line of her review, and I took some issue with it. So can't wait to get in this. This will be the last review we read, and then we'll wrap it up, guys.
Okay.
The movie gets 1 star for not being afraid to go to the extremes most other films would not go to truly try and horrify the viewer with the long drawn out murder of the victims. And I'm sure the villain's little attempts at comical bits were charming to some, most. Unfortunately, there's very little in terms of a cohesive storyline here. There are a slew of undeveloped little subplots and mysteries the film never explores or resolves in any way, and no link for any of it. Most of the victims in this film were women, and their murders were noticeably more elaborate and agonizing than the others. Oh, here we go. Here we go. With a world that disproportionately contains male violence against women, it was so very refreshing to see this brought to life through the workings of an obviously misogynistic director. This film can be summed up as a shallow sequence of extremely disturbing but meaningless shock value murders, a hellish fever dream brought to life by a very sick, talentless individual. If you want pure gore, no substance, perhaps this movie is your cup of tea. All right, before you say anything, Christian, let me just say this. Fuck you, Sophie. And I mean that in the most disrespectful way possible. Simply just because that there is a sequence in this movie, Christian,
Mhm.
where a little boy is getting his fucking leg gnawed on.
I hate that scene too.
But in no way do I think Damien Leone was singling out women in this film. I think that horror films just naturally probably have more women chased and or killed than men because of the inherent damsel in distress reaction they're trying to get from the viewer. First of all. Second of all, a dude gets his dick cut off in this movie. Okay? I think that trying to look, you didn't like the movie. That's fine. But in reading the review, it sounded like it just offended your delicate sensibilities. It was too over the top. It was too much, too drawn out, too gory. That's fine, but don't draw equivalencies where there aren't any. And quite frankly, I think that trying to make it seem like Leone had some kind of agenda here. I mean, I don't know about you. I didn't pick up on that at all. I just thought it was a dude making a really fucked up movie, and a bunch of people, men and women, had a lot of fucked up shit happen to them in this movie. So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't even give when people go to extremes like that. I really don't even like to. It's so ridiculous to me. I can't even. I wouldn't even bother giving her the. I'm not trying to dodge it, but like I wouldn't even bother even trying to take what she says is something I could stomach. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So we're in
I
agreement
mean,
that it's
everybody has fallen in love with Lauren Rivera. I mean, she is like a
she gets
goddess.
made a hero, dude. She
So
gets the hero blow.
it's just it's weird. It's weird. It's very I don't know. I can't even. I hear you. It's just
Gen
silly.
Z, brother. Gen Z. They're really on one with some of these movies sometimes, and it is a sight to behold. It really is. So that's some reviews, guys, of some generally hated movies and a couple that aren't generally hated. And I think that conversation went well. I do. There was a lot to laugh at. There was a lot to critique. It was very hard for me to read some of those sometimes. very hard if you couldn't tell. That's the internet, punctuation, grammar, not really a lot of people's thing when they're rage typing. I don't know, Christian, what surprised you the most about those? What was one that's just going to live in your head rent free forever?
The guy who got divorced over Leprechaun Origins. That's just funny. That's
you're
just,
kidding, right?
you know what?
He wasn't.
You know what, dude? I told you there's a fan base for every movie out there, and if there is a movie that can make two people grow distant, it's Leprechaun Origins. So that's the takeaway for the day. That's just fucking hysterical. There were negative reviews that I saw where people were coming from, and while I don't agree with the sentiment, I agree with that's their perspective, and I respect that. And there are other people that just, I don't think they see the forest for the trees on stuff, and they put their personal. It it just never ceases to amaze me how personal Halloween fans are with their movies. It's truly unique to me in a way like I've never seen before. I'm sure there are other movies that have the same kind of thing. But that's where I see it. It's just, man, it's personal. It is very personal. I didn't like Halloween Ends, but you know what? This one wasn't for me. No. It's never that. It's this movie has cost me my marriage. This movie, I lost everything. Like it's
This movie drove me to
props to John, man, because he made a movie that literally is a part of people's everyday thoughts, and it's literally a part of their personality. So, props to John for making something that influential, I guess. But I don't know. When you're on the outside looking in, at least I feel like I am, even though I love the movies too, just like anybody else. I just hope I never get to that point to where I sound like that. Somebody please stop me and say, "Christian, you're really starting to sound like a Halloween fan. You need to settle down." Tell me. I'll stop.
Don't make us all look bad. Okay, we're not all bad.
Well, the issue is the most vocal on the internet are those people, because the normal people aren't talking about the shit every day on the internet. They talk about other things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and yeah, it's truly something. Imagine how it is to consider yourself. Although I have very wild opinions sometimes about the Halloween movies, I'll never deny that. I know that I have an eclectic taste with those movies. Imagine how it is to consider yourself one of the level-headed ones. And then when Halloween 2018 came out and the internet exploded with just the rampant dipshittery, and you had YouTubers and people on the internet just really coming for the fan base. It was just like, fuck, man, like we're not all like that. Like shit. I mean, it's like you can't deny it. Like you can't deny, like, yeah, there's a lot of us like that. Like I can't even deny it. There's a lot of us like that. It sucks. Like it really sucks. I don't want to be lumped in with those people. But at the same time, I do appreciate that it means so much to them. I mean, we all have stuff that means that much to us, but nothing should ever mean so much to you unless it's like your family that you're willing to go to the ends of the earth defending it. You know what I mean? Like you and I have already gotten to a point. We've talked about it many times. Look, man, you don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween too. You don't, whatever. Like I think you're wrong, but whatever. I'm not going to change your mind, and you're not going to be fine. I'm not going to be writing up write-ups on it online every day about, hey guys, this is why you're wrong. This is why it's so good. Like, see,
That's another thing. It's like, man, if you got a YouTube channel where you're filming videos, how much time do you have to be fucking talking to people on the internet about it after that? Like, make a fucking video about it, move on too.
Yeah.
It's a business to me, man. I treat YouTube like a business. I get I do my work. I treat it like a job. Like after this tonight, dude, I have 5 or 6 hours worth of work I got to do, and I'm gonna do the work.
I really did. I thought about doing something, and I was like, you know what? No, because I can drop this podcast episode tomorrow, and that can be an upload for tomorrow, and then we'll do some stuff after work tomorrow. So
there you go.
that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, guys, no, seriously.
What are
This
you
was
What are
fun.
you watching? Hold on, Nick. What are you watching right now besides horror films? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm in the mood lately right now. Like I'm not watching horror films. I'm not, dude. I'm enjoying a lot of different things. What are
Yep.
you watching besides? What are you watching right now?
I mean, dude, I
No,
haven't
don't tell me you're just watching horror films right now.
no, I haven't really watched many horror films the last couple weeks. I let's see.
Watching
Last
sports?
night
Anything going on?
I watched The Devil on Trial last night, the Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of documentaries. Some of the subject matter I won't get into because I'm not trying to be controversial.
Just
I'll
say
tell
what
you,
it is. Just say what you watch. Or if you don't, yeah, hold on. Not
believe
say,
me, if we're done recording and I tell you what it was, you'll be like, yeah, probably best you didn't say that.
okay. Not watching that cuties, are you?
Fuck no. I am watching things that might rile up some of some crowds on the internet. So,
okay. Respect that.
what else? I recently decided I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch some of these superhero movies that I liked, like Man of Steel, the Batman, just a couple. The Mission Impossible movies. I'm actually about to restart my Mission Impossible watch.
Good, dude. Isn't that shit fun? Like,
That's great. It's great. And that series continued to get better up until the last one. I thought the Dead Reckoning was good, very good, but Fallout's still the best. Like Fallout is the best Mission Impossible movie.
I need to. Oh, so I got Walmart sent me a 4K. I can't show it yet because legally the street date's not available, but I'll say the movie because it's an old movie. I'm sure you've seen it. I have not seen it. It's called Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, Tom Cruise. Yep.
Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. It looks like some kind of science
Yeah.
future.
Yes, it's a
Is it,
sci-fi.
it looks fun.
It
Am
is.
I
I like it.
okay? I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to watch that. Yeah, I want to check that out.
I'm someone that I will defend Tom Cruise with every breath in my body. I think he's kind of a nut job.
You
Personally,
kind of gotta be though to be that be
Yes.
that good at what you do.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor, and he is 60 years old, and he's doing all of his own stunts still.
Yeah. Isn't it
Now
cool
Tom,
how age is different now too? Like age is I'm sorry to cut you off. It's just like age now, 60 is really more like the 40. Like the way people look at age today is vastly different than the way people looked at age 20, 25 years ago. Like when I
60
was a kid, a 50-year-old was like you were decrepit. Nowadays, 50, they're still athletes.
hey, 60
And
is the new 40 if you have money. That's what I'll say.
you know what I'm saying?
Money,
Yeah.
money will take you a long way.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, yeah, I'm actually probably about to. Usually, I'm weird, man. I'm like seasonal with some of these things. Soon as the
Me too.
summer starts, we get right into the warm weather. I'll rewatch all the Transformers movies. I'll watch the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Caribbean.
I always watch those when the weather's warm. I think it's because all those movies came out in the summer. I was always
Yeah.
going to the theater in the summer to see them, so I just associate them with the summer.
Right.
So yeah, I'm getting into my action movie phase of the year. I always have a phase where it's like I'm just watching like action movies. I don't really watch a lot of horror in the summertime, believe it or not. Unless one comes out or whatever. But that's more action movies for me.
Right.
I would say action is definitely my second favorite genre. I own a shitload of action movies, and I'll have people sometimes that'll be like, "Well, do you watch anything other than horror?" Yeah, I watch shitload of action movies. I just don't really talk about them on my channel. And you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, and that's why. And that's when people ask that, it's almost like, of course no. But then you say to yourself, well, you know what, Christian? How about you make an effort? Which is why I rebranded. It's like, why don't you actually make a goddamn effort? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like I'm gonna do this video. I'm gonna do a video soon on TV show. I'm gonna do this video soon on all the TV shows I have on DVD. And it's like, dude, who doesn't fucking watch classic sitcoms? Everybody does. Saved by the Bell, Roseanne, Married with Children. The only show that people I can't stand, I never really watched it. Watch it. Maybe you watch it. I fucking would get just repulsed by the Big Bang Theory. I would try to watch it and I would be like, this ain't for me. I tried.
I didn't hate it, but I never got the allure of it. Never. I mean, people tried to make it like it was that 70s show or Friends or The Office. I just don't see it.
Maybe it'll age better. and I'll go back and say, "Oh, I see, I get this now." But when I would go to the gym, it would always be playing on the TVs, and you could plug your headphones into the treadmills, and it would connect to the TVs. And I would try to watch it because they had David from Roseanne on there, which that guy is in every fucking thing.
Mhm.
And I would watch it for him, and I was just like, I don't get it. Are they
He's
supposed
fucking.
to make nerds kind of cool? Like, what is going? I couldn't figure it out.
He's Russ in Christmas Vacation.
He's Rusty in Christmas Vacation,
He's
David and
Rusty.
Roseanne. He's in every fucking thing. You would just see him pop up all the time. And he
Uh-huh.
looks the same. Like adult David, once he hit a certain age, like 23, he just looks the same. Still looks the same. What did I see? He was on Norm's Rare Guitars on YouTube. He's a great guitar player, believe it or not. And he just looked, this was like 2 years ago. I was like, he still looks the fucking same as he did. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know, man.
it's cool, man. It is cool. You know me. A lot of people don't really know. They kind of treat me as just like I watch horror. Horror is my thing. I watch a fuckload of action movies, and honestly, it's probably another. My previous marriage was never going to work out because she hates them. She hated action movies. Hated them. I remember when No Time to Die came out. I was so excited because I was like, "This is Daniel Craig's last Bond movie." Like
I remember you liked that one too. You tell me all
I
about it.
I loved it. I think that Skyfall and Casino Royale are still the peak
I
of
wanna
Daniel
do a
Craig.
show about this, dude. In the chat, please say that you want a show about this. I'll fucking do it and call it You Need a Horror Podcast episode, whatever, talking about anything but horror. I think it would be hysterical,
We
and I
could just
think
do
people
an
would
action movie show,
I
dude.
think
I mean,
I think people would love that. The title of the
yeah,
video is Talking Anything But Horror. People would be like, "Oh, fuck yeah."
yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Hey,
can't throw off because you had a poll, and I wanna respect the poll, but if people are down for that, dude,
no, I mean, we can. Yeah, we're gonna do Italian horror next, but I think it would be perfect to do that in like May because that's the time of year that I usually start going back to a lot of these action movies and stuff. So I think that would be good to kick off the summer
I
personally.
think
So
people would dig the shit out of that.
yeah, and you get to see a different side of us. You get to hear us talk about. I mean, of course, there's going to be a lot of Arnie in there. There's going to be a lot of Sly in there. There's going to be a lot of, I mean, just a lot of shit that
Jean-Claude
what?
Van Damme. I was saying
Yeah,
Jean-Claude, my
fucking
boy.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited. We'll do that for sure.
I think it'd be badass.
It will be, and we'll do it. So 2 hours, guys. We hope it was a 2 hours well spent. To all of you guys commenting every time we do an episode, wondering when they're going to be on the audio platforms. It's really just I have to remind Christian because I don't know how to do that. I've never done it.
Yeah.
So
I should. So what happened was everything's up to date now. As far as I know, all the episodes are on Spotify and iTunes. What happened was it was probably a couple weeks before the previous show when people were asking about it. I had gone to the app to upload them, but I didn't publish them, and so the app updated or something. And when I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do it now," when I looked at it, those uploads I did just disappeared. So then one night, I think it was late at night. I think I even texted Nick like, "Hey, tell everybody they're up." I did it late at night at work. It was like 2 or
he said,
3 a.m.
tell all those motherfuckers.
They're up, yeah.
Keep
So
asking.
we should be up to date, and I'll be very, very, very good. It's not difficult for me to do. It's just a little time consuming because it takes a while for it to process the recording because it basically goes through it basically transcripts the entire episode and listens for stuff to decide if it's explicit or not. Or what. It takes a little time to process it, but it's not hard for me to do. But I'm gonna make sure I do it
Never.
ASAP this
Never
time.
explicit. Never. We are never explicit. But yeah, guys, thank you all for watching and listening, sharing. I'm
Caring.
going to make it my mission to be even more active on the socials on the Instagram page because there's a line being humble and being honest and whatnot, but like let's just call a spade a spade. We get thousands of views on these videos and across audio platforms on every episode. There's a lot of you guys that watch this show, and I don't think it reflects entirely on the Instagram sometimes. So I kind of want to make more of a footprint there because this is a well-established podcast where I know even when we moved it to my channel, which is only a quarter of the size of Christian, we still get 1,500 plus views on every upload because you guys love the show. You come for the show. So I'm going to try to kick up I just kick it up a notch on the Instagram and reach a larger audience in that space too. And if you guys are listening right now, which I know there are dozens of you that are listening right now that aren't following the Instagram page, do it.
Just look it up, Uneeda. You'll find it. Yeah, some of those posts have been funny.
I think
I
it's
like.
just
Yeah, you need a horror podcast. Yeah, some
Yeah.
of the posts you've been making, I like them. I think a lot of them are funny.
Yeah, I liked
So.
my Freddy one yesterday when you know you're about to drop a banger podcast episode. I was thinking of I was gonna like Photoshop something into there and I was like, fuck it. Like I don't have to whatever. But yeah, I'll take clips sometimes from shows and I'll put a clip on there to give you guys a tease of something or whatever. It's fun for me. I know it's fun for you guys. And I know that with what Christian has on his channel, it's far more likely that I'm going to be able to find the time to be more active on the Instagram. So now, having said that, I did have my kid 8 of the last 10 nights because our schedule was thrown out of whack. Tonight is my first night kid free in a while. So I was. If you guys noticed, I think I only uploaded like twice last week. I just
busy week,
and is
he good now?
Yeah, he's got my genetics, so he's got chronic sinus problems. So weather change here, where it's been in the 70s the past couple days, flared it up for him, and then I started feeling it last night, and I can feel it all right now. Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and probably feel like dick.
What are you gonna do?
Yep. So, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. And it's a good thing we recorded tonight because if it was supposed to be tomorrow, I probably would have been like, Christian, I don't feel like talking. My throat hurts. So, good to do. I am really looking forward to you guys commenting down below, letting us know what you thought of the episode and what you think about the everything but horror idea. So, hopefully, a 2 hours well spent for y'all. And I'll get with Christian and we'll see if we can do a live show this month for about an hour, unpacking your questions again, just bullshitting. We'll see. Again, like we've said, no promises, but we will try to get that worked out. So until then, we will catch you guys on the flippity flip.